Something is missing in the modern K-pop landscape. As the industry leans into the high-octane visual performance of the fourth and fifth generations, a specific type of connection is beginning to fade. The intimacy of a distinguishable voice. Red Velvet. Established a standard for vocal autonomy that remains untouched 10 years later. While the industry moved toward visual centers, these two groups remained vocal centers, proving that a perfectly executed harmony creates a brand of loyalty that visuals alone cannot sustain. The summer of 2014 was a transitional period for K-pop as the EDM-heavy sounds of the second generation began to give way to more experimental structures. On June 18, a group from a small, unknown agency called WA Entertainment, now RBW Entertainment, stepped onto the stage with Mr. Ambiguous, Sola, Moonbyul, Wien, and Hwasa. They debuted with retro jazz, a 1960s soul, and a level of vocal confidence that suggested they had been in the industry for a decade. It was a survivalist debut. They had no choice but to bet on talent because they lacked the massive marketing budget of the big three. Less than 2 months later, on August 1, SM Entertainment introduced their own anomaly, Red Velvet. While their debut single Happiness featured the bright, neon colors typical of the era, the vocal arrangement was deceptively complex. Irene, Solgi, Wendy, and Joy, later joined by Yeri, were presented as a vocal lab for SM. The agency used them to explore the dual identity of Red being pop, experimental, and Velvet being R&B, jazz. Unlike their seniors, who often relied on a single power vocalist, Red Velvet was built as a choral unit where every member contributed to the architectural stack of the sound. This parallel debut season set the stage for a decade-long rivalry of vocal excellence. MAMAMOO represented the raw, soulful autonomy of the killing voice, while Red Velvet represented the polished, engineered perfection of the vocal architect. While the industry tried to frame them as rivals, the groups themselves proved their bond through talent. They were two sides of the same coin, entering an industry that was about to become much louder and much more visual. And yet, from day one, they signaled that they would be playing a different game entirely. By 2016, the K-pop landscape had fully shifted into the third generation, characterized by viral hooks and high-concept girl crush themes. Amidst this, MAMAMOO released Decalcomanie that would cement their reputation as the killing voice standard. The song is a relentless power pop anthem that requires massive lung capacity and vocal stamina. The members have famously admitted in interviews that they find Decalcomanie exhausting to perform because it offers no rest notes. The impact of this era was transformative for MAMAMOO's brand. They became known as the group that eats CDs for breakfast, a fan-coined phrase that highlighted their refusal to rely on backing tracks. Decalcomanie showcased their four-way belt, a technical rarity where all four members, including the rapper Moonbyul, are capable of hitting and sustaining high-power notes with distinct textures. The fact that Hwasa's husky tone, Solar's metallic power, and Wien's airy precision could all coexist in a single chorus without blurring together is more impressive than hitting the note itself. This era proved that vocal mastery could be a group's primary marketing tool. While other groups were competing for the most viral choreography, MAMAMOO was winning over the general public by simply being the best singers in the room. They were vocal athletes who turned every award show performance into a masterclass. This standard of excellence eventually led to a legendary vocal collision on the 4th of August 2017. When Mamamoo's Hwasa and Red Velvet's Sulgi stood side by side to perform Bang Bang, a showcase of two different vocal philosophies. It showcased hwasa's jazz-infused soul meeting Sulgi's rhythmic architecture, proving that while their styles differed, they were both playing a game the rest of the industry had yet to learn. While Mamamoo was conquering the stage with raw power, Red Velvet was mastering the studio with surgical precision. Between 2018 and 2019, the group released two of the most technically challenging songs in the modern K-pop canon, Really Bad Boy and Psycho. RBB is often cited by vocal coaches for its extreme difficulty, featuring Irene's infamous D7 whistle notes and Wendy's high-velocity head runs. It was a polarizing track precisely because it was so loud and technically busy, but it served as a definitive flex of their vocal range. Then came Psycho. It became the group's magnum opus and a benchmark for vocal control. Psycho is not a belting song, it is a control song. The vocal stems of Psycho reveal a masterclass in choral engineering, where the 5 voices are stacked so precisely that they create a haunting, singular velvet texture. It is a song that many attempt to cover, but few can replicate because it demands a level of internal group balance that takes years to cultivate. A prime example of their vocal mastery is Red Velvet's 2017 performance of Peekaboo on Inkigayo. Stripped of the heavy concert backing tracks, the complexity of their minor key harmonies becomes startlingly clear. It serves as a reminder that the Velvet concept is a technical requirement that demands every member maintain perfect pitch while navigating non-traditional pop melodies. Red Velvet showed that vocal music could be as avant-garde and complex as any electronic production could achieve.
안녕하세요, 마마무입니다.
In late 2020, the industry faced a unique challenge. With live concerts canceled due to the global pandemic, K-pop became an entirely digital experience. This is when Mamamoo appeared on Dingo Music's Killing Voice series. The premise was simple: no choreography, no sets, just 4 women standing in front of microphones for 15 minutes. To date, the video has over 54 million views, outperforming the high-budget music videos of many top-tier groups. The success of Mamamoo's Killing Voice session was the ultimate receipt for their decade of work. It provided an unedited look at their vocal autonomy, showcasing how they transitioned seamlessly between genres, from the jazzy Mr. Ambiguous to the swagger of hip. It was a reminder of why fans felt closer to them, because their vocal identity was so embedded in the music that the performance didn't need a stage. The voice itself was the stage. This moment also highlighted the vocal stems of their success. In the 15-minute medley, the Killing Voice session proved that talent is the most sustainable form of entertainment. Even before Killing Voice went viral, Mamamoo was already building their vocal center reputation in the small booths of radio stations. Their 2014 a cappella medleys were performed with nothing but a table for percussion that became the industry's first real glimpse of their 4-way autonomy. In these raw recordings, you can hear the soul of the group unfiltered. No reverb, no pitch correction, just 4 distinct voices locking into a perfect, natural blend. This was the moment the industry realized that Mamamoo has mastered the art of sound. As the 3rd generation began to mature, both groups leaned into the emotional anchor of their discographies, the ballad. In June 2021, Mamamoo released Where Are We Now?, a track that stripped away the hip swagger to reveal a raw and vulnerable core. The song is a technical torch song, requiring a massive vocal range and a delicate balance of falsettos. It was a departure from their usual upbeat energy, focusing instead on the closeness that their distinguishable tones provide to a long-term listener. Where We Now serves as a masterclass in emotional pacing. We see hwasa's charismatic, husky opening give way to Solar's explosive, high-register belts in the climax. It is a song that feels like a conversation between four people who have grown up together. Similarly, Red Velvet's ballad side, seen in songs like One of These Nights from 2016, proves that their vocal architecture is just as effective when the tempo slows down. Their ability to maintain vocal weight in slow songs is what separates them from groups that only use ballads as filler tracks. There is a specific type of vocal intimacy that is becoming rare in the age of polished perfection. It's the ability to recognize a singer not by their face, but by the grain of their voice. As the fans noted, these groups make fans feel closer because their voices carry their personalities. When MAMAMOO sings a ballad, you are hearing the history of four women who fought their way up from a small agency. When Red Velvet sings a ballad, you are hearing the precision of a group that has mastered every corner of their velvet identity. Critics and fans alike have also noted that the third generation was the last stand for this level of vocal personality, with Red Velvet and MAMAMOO serving as the final architects of a sound that feels lived in and real. To truly understand the vocal blueprint, one must look past the title tracks. Both groups have built discographies where the B-sides are often more technically demanding than the singles. MAMAMOO's Spring Fever and Star Wind Flower Sun are fan favorites that showcase a relaxed technicality. Even when they aren't belting at 100% capacity, the foundation of their pitch and harmony remains perfect. Red Velvet's B-sides, like Bamboleo, explore even weirder vocal territory. Bamboleo is a masterclass in city pop vocal layering. These hidden gems are the evidence for the dedicated listener, proof that their talent isn't just a product of a good producer, but a result of their own vocal standard. While these songs are often softer, they require even more breath control and pitch accuracy because there is less production track to hide behind. This is the vocal blueprint in action. A high technical baseline that ensures every song, no matter how small, is a quality product. It is why their discographies are considered top tier and all killer, no filler. And that's not even the most insane part. As the MAMAMOO proof of this vocal blueprint, we see the result of this mastery in the 300x2 performance of Decalcomanie, where 300 fans sang in perfect, synchronized harmony with the group. It proved that when a group prioritizes the voice, the audience can't help but join in. The industry is currently in the grip of the fourth and fifth generations, where the focus has shifted heavily toward TikTok-friendly noise music and performance-heavy concepts. However, the legacy of Red Velvet and MAMAMOO is visible in the groups currently fighting to keep the vocal-first blueprint alive. We see it in NMIXX, who have inherited Red Velvet's choral complexity and main vocal density. With members like Lily and Hwan, NMIXX is one of the few modern groups that can perform complex harmonies live without a safety net. We saw the torch pass when NMIXX and Luna covered MAMAMOO's Decalcomanie, paying homage to the vocal stamina required for such a track. We also see the MAMAMOO influence in Kiss of Life. This group has captured the vocal autonomy and indie soul energy that MAMAMOO pioneered in 2014. Their focus on individual vocal identity and live swagger suggests that the killing voice model is still alive. Even aespa, while leaning into a futuristic concept, remains grounded in the SM vocal architecture lineage, with Ning Ning and Winter providing the high-tier technicality that the futuristic era demands. As fans grow tired of lip-syncing controversies and homogenized, easy listening tracks, the demand for real vocals is peaking. The loss of vocal-focused groups, mentioned by fans all around the world, is being met with a new wave of vocal monsters. These new groups are the descendants of the standards set by Red Velvet and MAMAMOO. They are proof that the vocal blueprint wasn't a dead end, but a bridge to the future. In the end, Red Velvet and MAMAMOO solved the one problem every K-pop group eventually faces: longevity. Because concepts fade, choreography gets slower with age, and visual centers are eventually replaced by younger faces. But a voice is timeless. By building their identities around vocal mastery, these vocal artists created a brand that is essentially immune to the 7-year curse. They prove that you don't need a massive budget or a viral TikTok dance if you have a harmony that can stop a room. The vocal blueprint they left behind is a reminder that the heart of K-pop isn't the pop, but the idol, the artist who can connect with a listener through the sheer power of their distinguishable vocal. As we look at the modern industry, we realize that Red Velvet and MAMAMOO were actually the guardians of vocal art mastery. They held the line when the industry tried to mute the microphone, singing higher notes when the industry tried to make the beat takes the focus. They rejected the safety of the loud backing track, often asking for their live microphones to be turned up until every breath and vocal grit was audible. They stood as a stubborn resistance against the easy-to-listen era, proving that a complex, 4-part harmony or a gut-wrenching high note provides a human resonance that an algorithm simply cannot replicate. These vocal queens refuse to let the difficulty of a performance compromise the integrity of the live note. The focus of the current industry has shifted, yes, but the standard remains. Whenever a trainee enters a practice room and tries to hit the high note in Psycho, or whenever a new group stands holding a mic to prove they can sing, the legacy of these two pillars can be felt. Red Velvet and MAMAMOO aren't just vocal queens of the long past, they are the vocalist standard of the future. Because in an industry that changes every week, the voice is the only thing that truly stays.